Greetings, good Tuesday evening. Welcome to Tuesday Talks. I hope your day has been fabulous and I hope you have some exciting news about the weekend because I have some extremely exciting news. I cannot wait. I've been telling everybody who would listen about my exciting news, and I want you to put your exciting news in the weekend in the chat and tell me if it compares to my exciting news. My exciting news was I attended one of my high school reunions this weekend in Louisiana, and it was a blast. Don't hate, celebrate. We had so much fun. I went to my home and hung out with my home girls and my home guys, and we celebrated. And here's something that's really exciting about it. It is that our class, the class of 1973, was a class that has historical relevance. And part of that relevance is the fact that we were the first or second class in my little hometown after integration. So we had the whites and the blacks coming together in the high school for the first or second time. I can't remember if we were the first class or the second class. But to have us come back together all these years later is historical. And we celebrated. We had fun. We remembered the things that we had done that were good, the things that weren't good, and the things were in the middle, but just fun. And that was an amazing weekend for me. I felt like I was 9, 10, 12, 17, 18, all in one weekend as I drove through the town and reminisced. And that was the excitement for me for the weekend. Now, yesterday, I had to recover from the fun because we didn't stop. We had a parade in my hometown. We had our football team for homecoming kick butt. And at the end of the day, it was just a blast. So tell me in the chat what your exciting news was from the weekend or from the 7 days that have passed since I last joined you or you last joined me. But again, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Now, I have a new topic, and my topic, as I like to do, often starts with a question. So my topic for tonight is permission to. Permission to dot, dot, dot. What have you given yourself permission to do? What have you given yourself permission to strive for? What have you given yourself permission to be that maybe some people around you didn't understand, didn't agree with, or didn't even like? Because permission to starts with you. It doesn't start with other people. I have to give me permission to first. So I'm going to give you a minute to hit me with a chat about something that you have given yourself permission to. And then I'm going to tell you what mine is. My permission to blew my family's mind. My permission to was something I would have not have ever guessed that I would have done, but my permission to turned out to be one of the most exciting, memorable times in my life. So here's mine. I gave myself permission to skydive. Yes, you heard me right. Skydive. I jumped out of an airplane in the sky with a parachute and a tandem person on my back. My family thought I had lost my mind. And after I introduced the eye to them and they thought about it, my children and I went skydiving. And if I mention this in another one of the Tuesday talks, that's okay. But I want to use it tonight because that event started with me giving myself permission. And permission is one of my favorite words. In therapy, I tell my clients so often, give yourself permission to whatever it is. And tonight, I want to talk about 5 permissions that I want you to give yourself as you think about what we're going to talk about. So, what did someone say? Good evening. Praying all is well. 40th class reunion, Lamar. Yay. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome. Welcome. I'm glad you're sharing. Reunions are important. If you haven't been to one, make sure that you go. So here's where I want to start. I want to start with permission to be you, who you are, without apology. Who you are without apology. Because you can't be anyone else, and you can be the best version of you that anyone else might try to be. And you just want to give yourself permission to be you, because it starts with understanding that God didn't go, oh, shoot, I messed up. I didn't mean to make him or her that way. Lie. God made you the way he wanted you to be, and he wants you to be the best version of you you can be. But it starts with giving yourself permission to be you. You don't have to compare yourself to other people. You don't have to wish you could or looked like or did or were or achieved what other people did. Just be you fully without apology. But you have to give yourself permission to do that. There are no duplicates of you. You don't have to make an excuse for who you are or what you have or haven't done, but you want to strive to be the best version of who you are. Now, the best version of who you are 10 years ago doesn't apply today, and the best version of who you are 10 years from now won't apply today. And you have to understand the world, God, life, your family, your loved ones will refine you. And sometimes the heat of the refinement gets hot, but you want to be the best version of who you were designed to be by giving yourself permission to be full out you. And I said to you before, I'm goofy. I'm not going to pretend that I'm not. I love to be goofy. I love to have fun. I love to bring some levity, some joy, some laughter to the work that I do that sometimes can be so very serious. So hear me tell you that. Give yourself permission first and foremost to be who you are. And right behind that, I want you to give yourself permission to feel. Your feelings are valid. Your feelings don't control you, but your feelings are valid. Other people don't have to feel the way you feel in a given situation, but that doesn't invalidate your feelings. And I want you to give yourself to feel excitement. Everybody at the high school reunion may not have been as excited as I was. Too bad. I was. Many people weren't excited about driving around the city and looking at the houses and this elementary school and my friends and my family's houses. I went to my homestead, the house where my mother grew up. My grandmother lived for years. We sold it 20 some years ago. I went back to that house and I asked the man if he would let me come in and look around. It was remodeled, and it blew my mind how nice the remodeling looked, even though it wasn't the way it looked when I was a little girl in high school and college. But I gave myself that permission to be excited about that. And I giggled and I laughed, and everybody wasn't at the same level of excitement that I was, but that's okay. My feelings are valid and they're not factual. And that's where we have to make the distinction. Because just because I'm angry doesn't mean everyone would be angry in the same situation. Just because I'm excited, just because I'm sad, just because my feelings are valid for me, but that doesn't mean everyone should and would feel the same way I do. But I got to give myself permission to be feeling what I'm feeling, and then I have to self advocate. I've got to express those feelings. If I don't express them, other people won't know, and then they can't respond appropriately to me if I don't express my feelings. And then I make a request. What do I need in the face of these feelings? In the face of my excitement, I needed the people around me to let me full out enjoy it and have fun and be me. And so there were times when I took the microphone and I said some things. There were times when I even led a line dance to the song Get Up by Blanco. I had my classmates dancing in a line dance to the song Get Up. And it was fun. And I can't even do the dance. I still don't know how to do the dance, but I did it because it was fun, because I came to have fun and I wanted to have fun. And when people care about you, they will respect your feelings, even when they don't agree. And those are the people that I want close to me, are the people who respect my feelings. You don't have to agree, but just respect my feelings and give me permission, because I give myself permission to express my feelings and ask for what I need. Now, along those lines, I give myself permission to feel hurt, to grieve, to not be okay. Because in the world we live in, there will be many times when we are hurting, when we are angry, when we are grieving some loss or some injury or some circumstance. And we want to feel that we can grieve and hurt and feel that loss without apology. Now, everyone's not going to grieve the way you grieve. Everyone's not even going to think that you should be grieving whatever that is. Whether it's the loss of a family member, whether it's the loss of a pet, whether it's the loss of a job, whether it's the loss of whatever, you want to give yourself permission to grieve that loss. And losses aren't comparable. My loss of a pet may not be your loss of a pet. I have talked to many people in my office about losing a pet. I gave one of my neighbors a couple of years ago a beautiful little statue of a puppy with wings, because her dog had died. And I wanted to honor their relationship. And I gave her this little bitty statue of a puppy with wings. Now, I've never lost a pet to that extreme, to that extent, but people have, and it hurts, and they grieve. And I want us to understand that we can give ourselves permission to grieve whatever the loss is, the way we grieve it, to the degree that we grieve it, and not feel that our feelings are invalid. And everyone doesn't have to feel that same way or agree. So let me see. I see some activity in the chat. Yes. Yes. Oh, Lord, thank you for that. Absolutely. And if people don't respect my feelings, I need to check them, because Maya Angelou said, when people show you who they are, believe them. And I don't want people who don't respect my feelings close to me. I don't want people, I call it, in my theater on my front row. The people in my theater who are on my front row respect and validate my feelings, even when they don't agree. Now, here's the key, but you don't want to get stuck in the grieving. You don't want to get stuck in the hurt. You don't want to get stuck in whatever the negative feeling might be, because at the end of the day, there's something on the other side. And I love to remind people, you got to push through those negative feelings to come out on the other side. And whether it's grieving the loss of a loved one, I often ask people, what do you think your loved one is doing in heaven? Just imagine that. And a dear relative of mine said the other day that he thought his grandmother was probably gambling in heaven. We busted out laughing because he could just see her. And I tweaked it. I said, we don't call it gambling in heaven. We call it having fun. And we had such a hearty laugh about the fact that, yes, she's gone. Yes, he misses her. But we can only imagine what she's doing in heaven. One of my clients said to me once that she could imagine that her mother was having tea with Martin Luther King, and that Martin Luther King came to her house to have tea. She didn't go to his house. He came to her house because of who she had been on earth in her community, and he was honored to sit with her. Now, it's hard to get stuck in grief when you can think about what life looks like for them after they leave earth and we are without them. But then, I want you to give yourself permission to ask for help when you need it. Because sometimes we need help. Sometimes we're not okay. And we don't have to pretend that we are when we aren't. And we can raise our hands and say, I need help. I am the therapist. I need help often. And I've needed therapy help. I have sat on the sofa in a therapist's office because I needed help with something that I was struggling with. And I gave myself permission not to have all the answers and not to know how to work through this and not to be okay. And at the end of the day, when we can give ourselves permission to raise our hands, no matter who we are, no matter what our title is, no matter what our educational background, and no matter what we're facing, but when we can give ourselves permission to raise our hand and say, help, then we have someone to journey with us until we come out on the other side. And how long it takes you to complete the journey is irrelevant. What's relevant is that you give yourself permission to get the help you need when you need it. And then, as God says in his word, he will comfort you so you might be able to comfort someone else. And that's exciting to me. A lot of the things that I've been through, I've been able to relate to other people because I went through them, and vice versa. There are things that other people have been through that they can help me because they've already gone through it. And if we keep it to ourselves and we don't say we need help and we don't acknowledge our feelings and we don't consider them valid, we can't receive the help we need, but we also can't always give the help that other people need from us. And that is part of how God would use even some of the most painful events in our lives to be a blessing, to be a support, to be a comfort for other people. I've said it before. When you're on an airplane, the flight attendant always says, put on your mask first. And whatever the situation that you're in, I mean, one of the things that I've endured was I went through a divorce, and divorce was no fun. It didn't feel good, but I came out on the other side. So now in my practice, when I walk with someone through divorce, I can share my wounds and my pain and my sadness and my challenges to help them come out on the other side. And that is important so that we can not only not get stuck, but help someone else not get stuck. So at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, permission starts with you, not outside of you. It starts on the inside, and then you express it on the outside. And sometimes it means you've got to set some boundaries. And sometimes it means you got to back some people off of the front row who don't respect your feelings and won't allow you the permission you need to feel what you feel and raise your hand and get help. And that's up to you to give yourself that permission. But when you do that and you come out on the other side, I love to demonstrate this, push through the negative feelings, come out on the other side. And I don't care what the loss is. And I know I said it before. You don't have to get stuck, whether it's a natural loss or a traumatic wound. You don't have to get stuck. But you have to give yourself permission to feel what you feel and get the help that you need when you need it. And then you will see what God would have you see that he will use that experience for. So, I love to talk, and I'm a woman of words. And one of my favorite words is permission. And tonight I want you to ask yourself, what do you need to give yourself permission to be or do or achieve or let go of? Because when you give yourself that kind of permission, then avenues open up and God can give you something that he could not have given you unless and until you gave yourself that permission. So let this sink in, digest it, chew on it, look at your life through this lens and decide, where do I need to give myself that permission, irrespective of whether other people think I should, irrespective of whether other people agree with it, and even irrespective if I think I can pull it off, because you won't know until you try. So That's the end of Tuesday Talks for today. I'm going to give a shout out to my daughter. Her birthday was yesterday. Happy birthday to my daughter. And my son and my daughter-in-law had an anniversary yesterday. Happy anniversary to them as well. And if they're watching, Nana Nana Boo Boo. If they're not, I'll tell them to watch later. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for following me. Thank you for chatting with me and sharing your stories. And I want you to share more. Let me look. I see some more chats coming in. Happy birthday to my daughter. All right, then. Happy birthday and anniversary. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Rosalind. I appreciate you sharing that with them. So, join, share, be a part of the movement. Remember, you can learn all about me and what's going on and what I'm doing by going to my website, Surrender or Explode. Subscribe, follow me, hit me in the chat. Let's connect, because from that connection, we can achieve many, many more things than we could achieve alone. So have a good rest of the week. I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday. Thank you, thank you, thank you.